Hello, hello, it is Christine Michelle, and today we are going to talk about rune reading. We're going to have a rune reading so that you can blow the fuck up in the last 2 weeks of 2024. It is going to be so fun. I am inviting Jessica Radiance on. She is a talented and brilliant rune reader who also is a healer and intuitive, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. We are going to talk about blowing the F up in the rest of 2024 and how, like, what's the climate and how you get to do that. Jessica's also going to do a reading for me. I wanted her to do it live so that everybody can listen and feel and take what works for you and like what is about you, like you get to take it. And then you'll also be able to ask questions. So let's invite Jessica. Hold on. And I'm really excited about this. We are going to have such a good time. If you have a question, one question for Jessica, first she's going to pull a rune. Oh, we have Jessica. Hello.
Hi.
Jessica, let's see. I can see you, but I can't see, don't see your eyes. Can you shift the phone up a little? Yay! Now I see your
That
face.
better?
Yes, way better.
Okay.
Um, well, I'm really excited. I told everyone what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing rune readings for the rest of 2024, how we get to blow the F up in our business and have a really good life. And I told everyone that we're going to do a rune just to give the energy of like where we get to go. And I would love for you to introduce yourself, who you are. I gave a little bit, but I'd love to hear from you and let everyone hear your beautiful voice.
Okay. Um, well, I am Jessica Radiance, and I am also known as the Rune Weaver. And my journey has been one of really going within to connect with what our internal landscape is telling us. And over the years, that has looked like different things and it's shown up in different ways. But really, the power comes when we can quiet the noise and we can actually start honoring our true essence. Different things will wake up within us. And in the work I do for myself and with my clients, and even in the readings that I hold for people, I find that I'm able to activate or cultivate this spark for people. So, yeah, it's about, so you call it blowing the fuck up. I call it expansion. I really like the expansive nature of when we take agency for the life that we're living.
Yeah. I love that so much. And guys, I've worked with Jessica like for years, like on and off for a very long time. And I've seen Jessica's growth from where she is today. It warms my heart and I'm so excited. So, Jessica, would you just give a quick description of what runes are? And then we can do the overall reading and then dive right in.
Absolutely. So, this is my set of runes, and it comes from the Old Norse mythology lineage. And the thing about runes that makes them unique is you will always find that people fall into one of two categories when it comes to these symbols. In one camp, well, I'll call it a camp for this space, we have people who look at these symbols and they see them only as an alphabet tied into the literacy of the day and age. We're talking Iron Age, Northern Scandinavia region. Um, and then it came into a lot of popularity, especially here in the US, because we had a surge of interest in Viking Age lore and mythology. And so the runes, because they were part of that old Norse Scandinavian culture, are sometimes very synonymous with the Vikings, but it is more expansive than just that one um, facet of Old Norse tradition and mythology. So there's that, and this would be the more academic side, the people who are looking at this and understanding that, okay, we can take these sounds and we can spell words with them and they can mean things and we can have inscriptions and put them on stones to actually translate and transfer information from one point in time to another across generations. So the other camp that work with rune and rune energy understand that there is a very cosmic divine energy and understanding within each symbol, and that they are far more expansive than a traditional alphabet, especially the way that most of us understand alphabets to function today. So I myself, the way that I work with them is in the second camp. They have the potential to awaken within us truths, universal truths, the law of nature, and the way that the world works. And when we tap into that and we start paying attention to it in our external world, even in our internal world, then we're using this primal energy to actually flow with things rather than constantly trying to fight and superimpose our will and our ego onto what it is that we desire. That's the basic introduction for what they are and how I use them and why we find benefit with them.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, this is so good. So what I was thinking is that we could, pull one for the overall energy for the rest of 2024. It's about what, 6 or 7 weeks. And then you would go into a reading of me, right? Because I guess we'll just keep it with the same thing. Like, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be, right? To blow the F up, whatever comes through for 2024. And then after that, depending on how much time we have, whoever's still live, we can let them ask a question to you, and then you can give them a mini reading for that. How does that sound?
That is perfect.
All right, well, let's go. Yay.
Okay. So thank you to all who are joining live, and welcome to all who will be watching the replay. What I am asking now is for 1 to 2 runes to guide the overall collective energy for the rest of the calendar year. So up until, January 1st. Okay. And we had exactly 2 fall. So because I'm doing selective, I'm holding them in my hand rather than a full reading. I would use all of them in play. Um, the 2 that fell out, interestingly enough, we have one that fell face up and one that fell face down. Anytime the runes fall face down, when I read them, what that means for me is that it's an energy that's more on the subconscious level, meaning that we can feel it, we have an inkling, it's kind of bugging us or nagging us, or you can't quite put your finger on it, but it's there. And then the one that's face up is the conscious energy. The other thing that's coming through is I don't typically read reversals just because my readings are more dimensional. I'm looking at the relationship between the runes and the directions and all of the things that are coming in. But as I am looking at the runes, both of them fell in a reversed position from my vantage point. So the one that is face up is, I'll just show you. This one is called Nowadays, and it governs the concept of fate. So the 3 fates, or the concept of time, past, present, and future. This understanding that you don't cry over spilled milk, right? The things that are in the past are in the past, and we shouldn't use the past to inform our future. But because we don't know what's possible, we get scared and we get stuck in the present moment. That's a lot of what this energy is talking about. And it came out in what would be a reverse position. So this to me is a feeling of a lot of the energy for the collective for the rest of this year is all of the chores that we need to do that we don't want to do. We're like, oh, can someone else wash the dishes? Because I just want to go to bed. I've had a rough day and I'm not about taking care of things. But because because it is that need, it's the understanding that if you don't take care of the dishes, they will be there for you in the morning when you wake up, or a week from now, or you're going to have to involve someone else to get them done. So it's that kind of energy. And I like to use examples that are more tangible because I really want the work that I do with the runes and with my clients to be something that you can actually take and use. It's fun and it's exciting and it's inspiring to be mystical. And I absolutely do that work as well. But I really want us to be able to tap in and say, okay, how can I apply this to my current situation for growth and change? So we have the energy of need and taking accountability for yourself, because when you do, magical things unfold. And then we're going to look at the one that was upside down. So on the subconscious level, we are dealing with the energy of reciprocity. This is the rune known as Gebo. And the thing that I love about this symbol is it's a symbol of what we would call the X in the Roman alphabet. But when we think about the symbol, where do we see X's? Where do we recognize this symbol? Since you're here with me, Christine,
Okay.
what thoughts come to mind for you?
So X's, it's usually like Xing out something or checking something off the list, right? You can exit out because it's complete, right? Because you're done, or that you got something wrong. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
like those are some of the ways that you could, I think about, what is that? Um, Family Feud, three
Yeah.
strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
So there's couple things because it could be great, you got things done, or it could be you got all this wrong. So,
hmm And what I love about that is those are examples that lean into a lot of what I use with this rune. So on the inspiring side of it, we think about treasure maps, right? X marks the spot.
yes.
There's something really worthwhile at the end of the journey, and it's going to be worth it. I know it. Or when we do representations of skulls and crossbones, we've got X's in the eyes of people who are no longer with us, right?
Mhm.
So, this energy of reciprocity, as you can see by the examples that come to mind for me, and even the ones that Christine shared with us, when reciprocity is imbalanced, meaning that it is not balanced, we have these extremes.
Mhm.
And the idea behind it is that we want to close that gap and we want to be giving and receiving in equal proportions so that everything we do along the path is sustainable and mutually beneficial. There is what's coming to mind is an ancient African proverb, I believe. I'm not sure what tribe, but they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a group, go
Mhm.
together.
Yes.
And that, I think, is the energy of Gabo. If you want to go far, go together. So be mindful of, as we're finishing out this year, in particular, as things are coming up for you and you're feeling like, okay, I know that I've got things I need to do that are going to benefit what it is I'm bringing, what I'm manifesting, but being mindful of how am I showing up for myself as well as for the community spaces, either on the family level or the workplace or the spiritual communities, however you interact with your communities, that's what the collective reading is calling in, is that kind of energy. Because when you follow both of these from your heart with integrity, you will ultimately arrive at being able to reap what you're sowing. And that's the beauty of the energy right now for closing out this year.
Oh, I love that. So bring it together. So based on both of those beautiful runes, you're saying that it really is a focus on, moving in alignment with what you need to do all of those things, but also making sure that you're thinking on a holistic level for the community, maybe service first, like that heart first, but it also seems like maybe it's even collaborations, moving together with people versus doing things in silo only for yourself. Is that kind of what it's saying?
Yes, and what I would add a step further is that will make it very practical and very real. There is a lot of heartache right now in the world for a lot of different reasons, on a global scale, on personal scale. And so this is really asking you to look at the places where your leadership, where you are leading by example. So it's easy, and that's because of Nauthiz. Nauthiz really is the energy of like you cannot escape. In that concept, you can't escape your fate. So even when you have difficult trials and tribulations come up, it's a matter of how do you conduct yourself in the face of adversity.
I love that. So it's very similar to, you know, how one of the biggest things that I talk about, especially in business, it's like, who are you behind the scenes? Like, who are you in front of the camera? You're a certain person, but who are you when things go rough? Like, who are you when times like that are happening now? Who are you and how do you lead yourself? And so I love that. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Okay, this is good. So did everybody take your notes and listen to this reading? We're about to go into my reading. I don't know if I have to do anything special, but she's going to go into my reading. And then what we're going to do is if you have questions or you have something for like what you are desiring for the, you know, the rest of this year, the 6 to 7 weeks left, I want you to keep that in mind so that you can ask a specific question or something for Jessica towards the end. So let's go, Jessica. This was so good. I like that idea. Who are you?
The final thing that I'll note, because this is a lot of how I work too, is at the very end of that reading, out my window, I saw a flock of starlings come in and land on the lawn,
Oh,
and then they took and they left. So that is beautiful energy of like collective consciousness. And it's a reminder that you may feel like things are insignificant because you're only one person, but that your energy impacts everything around you. So that was just the final thing that came through as we were closing that out.
oh my God. No, I love that. And I want to point that if you haven't seen my video from yesterday, anyone that's watching this replay, I shared my method for allowing yourself, like helping yourself shift, especially in difficult times. And it's the Align Soul Alchemy method. And the biggest point I wanted to say was pushing out your anger and whatever you're feeling onto others is not helping anyone. But when you work within, and you can shift and you can tap into that, like, you know, moving that energy, acknowledging it, doing all the ancestral work that you get to do using the Alliance Soul Alchemy method. Guess what changes and shifts? Everyone around you. And that's a big thing about working within too, to make a difference with the collective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go. I'm ready for my reading. I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. So I was I was tapping into your energy specifically as you were doing the transition to the next stage. And what happened for you is that one fell and then the next one came separate from it.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, we tried for two and two came out. So there's something even carrying over in terms of like understanding polarity and understanding that the give and the take, the providing and the receiving, really changing the way that we are thinking about how we show up in this kind of energy. Um, so that's just like kind of side information that's like transitioning between the two.
Oh, this is good. And the energy is so clear, it's so clean. So what came
Okay.
up?
So the first one that came for you, again, it fell face down. So this one is a little below the surface. And what we have is Haglaws.
Ooh, H. It looks like an H. I know it's not, but yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Um, so this rune is a very powerful one because it actually deals a lot with the life, death, life cycle.
Okay.
And it's associated on a practical level with the hailstone. And when you think about the hail, it's a very destructive force when it comes in. Um,
Ooh.
it will demolish the natural world. It will demolish man-made things. But after it melts, that water is life-giving nourishment for what is coming after things have been shifted.
Ooh.
So this energy, it's one where you're being asked for the rest of this year to really lean into understanding that everything that is falling away is supportive of what the next level is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was on a subconscious level, you may also find that you'll reach like 2 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, and you may experience some kind of grief or feeling of loss, and you can't quite understand what it's for. And what I'm feeling about this is that it has to do just with the energy of the transitions, the energy of things have been brought to the surface and they're being moved. Once that grieving processes, what it does is it opens the door for everything that is coming in. So it will be a relatively quick turnaround. And the reason I say it will be a quick turnaround is because of the second rune that came out for you.
Oh, okay. Yay. We love rapid turnarounds.
Uh, but it's going to be your choice about how quickly the turnaround happens. And the
Okay.
reason that's the case is because this rune fell on its side. So
Oh, okay.
when they fall on their side, what that means is that from one direction, we have easy access to the energy and the information. We know what we're working with. From another perspective, it's completely unclear to us.
Mm.
So this is about being intentional, but the rune that came out that way for you is Rido.
Oh, yes,
So
yes. I feel like I always get that rune. Even years ago when
yeah,
you did it for me, that one always comes out.
so
Okay,
the
go, go, go.
really cool thing about Rido is that on a practical level, we can understand it as like transportation, right? A vehicle or a train or an airplane, um, uh, even walking from one destination to another, transportation. And so then it becomes the journey, the process of moving.
Oh, okay.
But we also can think of it as transitions. And in this sense, what I'm getting for you is that this is a lot of internal energy I'm really feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said that the connection with Hagala's, that the processing and the grieving and the releasing and the moving forward, when you decide that you are all in, which I do happen to know just because I've worked with you for so long, you're very skilled at being able to do that. This, for the rest of this year, I feel is calling you to the next level of your ability to do that.
Okay.
And the reason that that's coming through is because of how succinctly both of these came out. Like the one came out, and then the second came out, and then it was done. And in the process of that was me explaining all of the transitions from the collective reading to the individual. So for you, because you're part of the collective reading and then you've got this piece that's your individual reading, that's what you can do with it, and that's how you can actually make the most of it.
Ah, okay. Oh, so how does it work? Because I know you do these readings. Like, do I ask a clarifying question or anything? Because this is feeling good.
Yeah, if you want. I was trying to be mindful of time, but yeah, we can go deeper if you like.
Yes, just one question. I wanted, is there something specific that I need to focus on? Because just looking at it, I wrote notes. So, like you said, there's the life, death, life cycle, right? So it's the hail. So it kind of seems like there's transition, a falling away. And there has been, and if is this the past or is this future? Because I know that I've been like shifting the business a little bit, moving on some things, letting go of a lot of older programs, moving to even a new portal, like that is starting as well, and just shifting a little bit even in some of the programs and the focuses. So that has been going on behind the scenes. And I feel like there's a lot of momentum there, but I feel like there's this light, this clarity on like that I needs to drop in before I like go forward with it. And that's why the Rido makes sense, because it's like once you're all in, then it's going to be like boom, gangbusters. But I feel like there's a little cloud in the middle for like what that focus gets to be, or even what that shift gets to be,
Okay.
or whatever comes out with the card. So I just feel like there's that middle between the H, I know it's not an H, but in Rido. What's the not Hecate? What was the eight? The
Hagalaz.
yes, Haga and Rido. I know there's just something in the middle, so I'm curious. And then we'll go to everybody. Think about your questions.
So when you were first asking, I was starting to move the runes just because it's important for me to connect in with the energy of people when they're actually in their energy. Two fell out, so I'm not a fan of ignoring energy when it presents, so we're going to honor those two, and then I dropped one more at the very end when you finished speaking.
Oh, okay.
So now we have, for you at this point, the clarification is we have a trinity, right? The power of three.
Okay.
So if we add that, we get five, and now we've got this kind of energy of all elements: earth, air, fire, water, and heart, spirit, right?
Yes.
So some of your answer and your clarification on what that's going to look like is making sure that you're balancing all the different pieces of what it is you're birthing,
Hmm.
tending to all of the different elements, the thoughts, the feelings, the physical, the mental, the emotional, all of it is going to be part of how you're going to do that. But the rune of the three that fell, one is face up, and it's beautiful because it's ingwaz, and it is seed energy.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
So the thing that is really powerful about this energy is you can see that if we look at that diamond shape in the middle, the piece below
Mhm.
would be considered the roots, and the piece above would be like the um, little sprouts, when the leaves break the soil and you start to see the plant actually coming into its being, right?
Right.
And we never think about the root system because we hardly ever see it. And when we do see it, it's usually because there's a problem or because we need to be investigating. So this energy, this seed energy, also correlates with DNA because it represents, like when you look at the one-dimensional representation of the rune, it has the double helix kind of iconography.
Yeah. That's what I thought about when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, this one is going to be like being called forward to really just embrace and step into trust of self as guided by spirit
Love
is a
it.
lot of
Okay.
how it's going to work. Um, underneath, so the second one that fell when we were transitioning, that was face down. So this one is subconscious. This one is Isa. And Isa can be read a couple different ways. For the way that everything's working for you, this is actually being able to still the emotions long enough to create a solid foundation. So you talked earlier about your aligned soul alchemy, doing things like that. There are times when we move the energy in order to transmute it, but in this process of calling in and like having clarity around what's actually coming through and why, what's releasing and what's taking its place, you're, you're being asked to really tune into the core essence of what it is you really want, making sure that it is yours and that you are building off of that.
Mhm.
And
I
then
love
the final one for you, also face down, but this is Awaz. And Awaz is all about spirit. So this one is spirit, free spirit in the terms of like the horse, like the untamed horse, wild and free to roam and just be what they are and how they are. But spirit also in the sense that when we think about horses, horses can also be unicorns and they can be Pegasus and they can be all of these messengers between humanity and God throughout time when we look at various cultures and various traditions. Horses have held such an important part of our lineage as humans. So wherever you're seeing horses, either in iconography or in dreams, Sleipnir also just came through. Sleipnir is Odin's horse, and Sleipnir has 8 legs. And a lot of times people say that that is the beating and the pounding of the heart. It's the drum. It's the shamanic trance that helps actually move between worlds. So even though we didn't actually get that evidenced in your reading, the energy hit and I felt the need to speak about it. So to sum up, the answer I would give you is that full conviction on what it is you're doing and being clear on in your heart space about why you're doing it. And as you're closing out this year, the expansion that you're going to experience is really thriving in this new version of yourself that is coming into being.
I love it. Thank you. That's so good. Oh my God. Like, there's so, you guys, you need to book a reading with Jessica. Jessica is amazing. Tell everybody how they can book a reading. And then I want people to drop their question about their next 5 to 6 or 7 weeks or whatever for 2024, whatever questions you guys have. But Jessica, tell everybody how they work with you and if they want a reading or what are the various ways that they can like get this type of information because you're amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Um, the easiest way is just to send me a message and just let me know that you're interested in getting a reading on the books. And then what I'll do is I'll talk with you and figure out what's going to be the next step or the next best path. Because I do offer a couple different layers. Everything we're getting today, I mean, we saw it a little more, Christine, with your reading because I got the opportunity to go a little bit deeper and really kind of flush it out. There are ways that we can go in and we can do very focused intentions of like, this is what we're working with and this is what we're going to like stay within the parameters of. But there are also ways that we can go much deeper and we can really pull on what the energy means for you and why it's presenting. So just reach out in DMs and we'll start the conversations and then we'll figure out the next steps for you.
I love it. I'm so excited. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask to have a reading? Have Jessica like read one thing about either your 2024, the rest of the year? Maybe you have just a question about life or what's happening in your life and in your business, definitely drop it into the comments and Jessica will do a little bit of a reading on that. Jessica, are you feeling led to do anything as far as, I know we did the overall 2024, what was left, that reading. If you didn't get, if you just joined, watch the replay. I will definitely post the replay and tag Jessica in it so that it shows on her profile too, which was really good. You just did my individual reading, which I'm like, woo, it's very aligned with where I wanted to go and what information I wanted. So it's very, very, very good. But did you want to, like, is there anything you feel led to do or to say while we wait to see if anyone has any questions?
Mm, I guess the biggest thing is that we so I was in a space yesterday and over this past week, some of the places that I've been, it's becoming very apparent to me, and I think you spoke to this a little bit because of the live that you did, you said yesterday, but it's becoming very palpable, the the fear that people are feeling.
Yeah.
And what I want to speak to and what I want to remind everyone of is that we have so many choices in our life about how we navigate things. We don't have choices about the circumstances. We don't have choices about a lot of the details or the timing or all of that stuff. And when we focus on all of the things that are keeping us in feeling stuck, we genuinely are just deepening that energetic frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So my invitation to you is to be very mindful of where your thoughts and feelings are going these days, and be very intentional about what it is you're calling in for yourself. Because, like I said at the end of the collective reading, when the starlings came in, and we think about collective consciousness, all you have to do is watch a flock of birds. There's no one piloting that flock of birds. One moves slightly and the whole flock follows suit. Your ability to impact spaces is so much more profound than you realize. So do what you need to take care of yourself and nourish yourself, absolutely. But remember that you have a choice and you have a say in how you feel.
Oh, this is so good. I love it. Okay, well, to wrap it up, did you want to pull one more room for this to close out the conversation? Because oh, this was so good. If you guys want to read it, I've had longer readings with Jessica. She also has a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and I've also like had longer readings with her, and it's just magnificent. The Because she's an intuitive and this is her tool. She really is using it as a tool, but really tapping into her inner God voice, the intuition that is speaking. And it goes deep into the runes, but also deeper into the things that your soul has been saying that you aren't necessarily hearing, and just to have Jessica repeat that back to you, you'll feel that resonance and be like, yep, that like I'm writing notes, I'm like so it's so good. So please, like, get a reading with Jessica, get into her DMs, ask her, like it's just it's a different way of looking at things. And what I like about the runes, because I read tarot and a lot of different like oracle cards and things about that. But what I love about the runes is that because I am not familiar with it, although I love the culture and love everything behind it, I am not like really personally familiar with it, which means that I don't infuse my ideas on what it means in it. And so that's why I love a reading with Jessica, because it's going to be something that I am not trying to infuse my own beliefs on, well, I think that card means this, or I think this means this. It's me taking all of my thoughts and all of my brain out of it and having a really true open heart. And that's why I love this and the way you do things, because it's just so powerful. So I think I've said all the things.
Well, because you asked for a final rune, I did pull one, and
Oh,
what we have coming through, this is Fehu. So Fehu is very much tied into cultivation. It is tied into what we are actually devoting our time and attention to in a very basic introductory connection with the runes. What you will see people say that Fehu is associated with is money and
oh,
abundance.
that's a great way to end.
Um, but it is a great way to end, because it is a reminder, like when you dig deeper into the energy of Fehu, what you really understand is it's the energy of nurturing and cultivating. So where, when we think about money and we think about finance, where does it come from? It comes from you being dedicated to a craft. It comes from you, if you are a farmer, out, tending to your crops until the crop actually comes to harvest, and then you're able to collect the bounty.
Mm, yes.
So and the reason a lot of this comes in is because what you are also told is that Fehu represents cattle, right? Well, what does cattle mean? And why does that have any significance on us today? But when you think back to the landscape and the terrain, the time when these symbols were commonplace and everyday knowledge, like you said, people would know what this meant. Cattle was very different than a wild ox. A wild ox had a very different power, and that energy shows up in a different rune in this set. So it really is the energy of cultivating, of like building the life that you want for yourself. So it is abundance and it's yours to claim, and it's here at the end of everything we're doing today. So that's officially how we're wrapping out this year.
I love it. So basically, what Jessica is saying is that you get together in your communities, giving to each other, equalizing, giving and receiving, and you're gonna make a shit ton of money. It's really good. I love it. This is the best reading ever. You guys rewatch this, watch this over and over again. But it really is, and I what I love about it is because I feel like that room was the perfect room for what you had just said. Because there is a collective fear and a collective turmoil, and there's a lot of people that are so worried. And basically, Fayu, how do you say it?
Faye, who?
Fehu was like, nah, don't worry about that. Like, what you get to do is really tap into what you said about this collective reading. Come back to your heart, come back to giving, come back to receiving, come back to being of service, and focus forward on where you want to go. And money gets to flow to you, and abundance gets to flow to you in the ways that you could have never imagined. So I love that that's the way that we're ending. I want everyone that's on this call watching the replay, please go into the DMs of Jessica Radiance, ask her for a reading. She's got many different types of readings. You guys will be able to work out which one is the best for you, because it's perfect way for you to just have a jump start on your next steps, what you get to do, because I already know now what I'm going to be doing now that I have had this reading. So thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you for just giving us even a little smidget of your gift. I've known you for so long and I've just watched you grow and expand. And like I said, I would recommend you for anyone who really wants to dive in. You also have one-to-one experiences, the chrysalis experience, which we have seen your clients just shift and change in ways that they could have never imagined. And if you want questions or have questions about that, please get into Jessica's DMs, and I will definitely get this replay out as quickly as possible. Yay! Is there anything you want to say before we go, Jessica?
Thank you for holding space for this today.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys later. Bye.